Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
My 3-year-old was diagnosed 6 months ago, and we have been trying to get services. We got a 10-hour-a-week prescription, which I'm hearing isn't right. They weren't even able to get us 10 hours. We are trying to get started with a third provider now. The other two told us they couldn't staff his team after making us wait for months. I want more hours, but no one seems to have them. My son is in a co-op preschool now. My question is, should I take him out of there? I would do it if we could get 40 hours staff, but right now we can't, and I only have a prescription for 10 hours. Why is this all so difficult?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, what do you recommend, Dr.
Oh,
Grand-Pichet?
gosh, what would I do? I think I would probably... So here's the thing with preschool. Preschool is in the morning usually, and most ABA providers have availability and have therapists available in the morning. The problem that providers hit is that all parents only want services after 3 o'clock, after school. And so that makes it super difficult. If your child is young, I would probably talk to my ABA providers and say, guys, if I give you the morning hours, can you staff him? I would probably try to see if the school has an afternoon program. That would be ideal, is if I'm doing ABA every morning and weekend, by the way, and then I'm doing school in the afternoon, because most ABA providers, as I said, they don't have enough therapists to work in the afternoons. So here I would work on setting up a program where, for instance, in the mornings I'm doing ABA. And by the way, it's a little strange to be doing ABA with 2 different organizations, to be honest, because the program becomes confusing unless those 2 organizations meet every week and figure out how to do things exactly the same, right?
Which is a time suck.
It's a time suck, and it's almost impossible because you'll have a VCBA at each organization and they'll be working on different things. So,
but I think I agree with you completely, but I think what they're describing here, and I've had a lot of parents with this, that they get their prescription and they're given a provider and they sit on the waiting list. And then eventually they say, this isn't what, can we get moved off the waiting list? And they say no, so now they say we're going to send you to another
provider.
So they're not actually
it's not
getting
simultaneous,
services yet.
right?
Yeah. They're at the 3rd provider trying to get started now.
Yeah.
They're moving the chairs around on the Titanic.
Exactly. And I think they said the age of the child is 3, right?
3.
Yeah, so let's just start there. So it's wrong. Unless your child is extremely high functioning and really doesn't need a lot of support, that means when they were diagnosed, they were given a 1-1 designation. That means they need very little support, which means they should have language, they just don't have a lot of social communication behavior, okay? If that's the case, then 10 hours might be enough. Otherwise, I would always want to start with much more intensive than that. I would definitely want at least 20-25 hours just so I see how the child is learning. If it's a 2-2 or 3-3 child, I'm starting with minimum 25 hours. And I'm doing that on the mornings and the weekends. And the way that you would do this is perhaps one of the provider that you're with could give you therapists if you had every morning free. So that would be, let's say, 15 hours during the week, right? 3-hour sessions, or even 12 hours during the week, whatever they can give you. And you do that in the mornings. And then you hire someone yourself or 2 people who just works the weekends, and they can do another 10 hours on the weekends. And that's very, very important. So if you hire someone, they can also get trained. There's a ton of different ways to get trained. We can talk about that separately. But online, there's a lot of different training programs online. and they can then work for you on the weekends, and you could pay them yourself because insurance is only going to cover the people who go through an official provider. Then in the afternoons, you could still be in preschool, but I would make sure that the preschool is very kept up to date when it pertains to what your child is learning. Now, everything that I just said is a compromise. Because if the world was ideal, and if it was only like 10 years, 15 years ago, I would just recommend a 40-hour program for your child. And as a provider, I would give you all of that with 5 or 6 therapists rotating and filling your child's hours. And that's honestly what you should be fighting for, because that is still the gold standard. And within 6 months, you'll know if it's working.
Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We hope to see you there.